Hey, welcome to the Welding Business Owners Podcast, where our podcasts are late, but our bids are on time. I'm your host, Kevin, with JMW Fabrication. Today, we've got episode number 4 with Matt Stout from Stout Customs. If you haven't checked out his previous interviews, go back, listen to episodes 1 through 3, because nobody likes starting in the middle of a conversation. If you want to see what he does, you can go on Instagram and check him out. Matt_stunt is his page. Stout Customs is his metalworking page. And then you can also check out his Boonie Buds at Stout_Customs. If you want to follow along with us and what we're doing, JMW Fabrication. If you want to follow along with the podcast and all the Fabricator Olympic stuff, find us on Instagram at Welding Business Owners Podcast. And without any further ado, here's episode number 4. So how many guys do you have working for you?
Right now, it's myself and 3.
What's your approach to growing your team and keeping them happy?
My team is the happiest team of all the teams. I cheer for my team every day in every single way.
Yeah.
I think that we communicate very well as a team. And everyone has the opportunity to advance. And it's all laid out for them.
Mm-hmm.
So the growth within the team has to be, driven by what they want. We talk about this often with those guys. I believe that we give them a place to work, and they can't find a work environment. Not to say that they can't, not to say that there's no other work environments like we have. But I have 3 employees that I treat like siblings.
Okay.
So let's lay it out like that.
Okay.
That's why we have great communication within the team. We're working on even making better communication. That's why I believe they're the happiest team.
Okay.
Because I treat them like siblings, and it's not good a lot of times. I baby them way too much. Oh, yeah. You don't want to do that today? All right. Well, why don't you do this? Why don't you come out? And I can read them.
Yeah.
Now they're getting worn out. There's a pile of parts in front of them, and all they have is a palm sander. They're getting worn out. Well, just do half the pile, and then why don't you go mow the grass? All right. And all of a sudden, half the pile's gone, and they're mowing. All right? So win for both of us.
Yeah.
Right? We got half the pile done really fast, and now you're mowing the grass.
Yeah.
So we're doing shit. That's how I keep them happy. They all have incentivized bonuses that they work for.
Okay.
So they all have a pay scale when they're in their little world of the shop doing the job that they do best. They get a little bit extra hourly rate. Those things, I approach that carefully because I've tried that in the past, and then it gets off the rails. And I told them all, we need to tiptoe around this one here, the dual rate thing.
How do you figure that out? Like what? Give me examples, and how do you track that?
So when Kelly is running the water jet, which is the job that she said that she likes most and wants to excel at, she gets a higher hourly rate when the machine is cutting. So if she's going to start a program and it's a 30-minute program, she gets a half an hour at the higher rate.
Okay.
All that data is in the machine. Now she keeps a notepad, but
Sure.
All of those programs are in the machine. If she ever forgets to write something down, or if there's ever a discrepancy, we can go back and see every program that was run for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Training Kelly, who never ran any piece of fabrication equipment, training her to run a water jet. And then, I turn around, and an hour and a half later, she's still clamping the first part in the machine. I'm like, okay, well, we got to do something about this. Hey, do you really want to, you want to work on this machine? Let's make this arrangement. So you will cut the parts, and then, when the machine works, you make more money. So now that doesn't mean throw it on there and press go as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Still got to do a good job. Mm-hmm. So that's why you have to tiptoe around those arrangements.
Sure.
She could just be up there, running the machine. But
okay,
we have to communicate about it. How did you go? How many hours cutting did you have today? and how did the parts go, you know?
Yeah.
So that's, you know, that's her incentive to excel at that position. And that opportunity is there in any niche, in any corner of my shop. That opportunity is there for any of my team members. If Kelly said, I want to be better at finishing, show me that you can get better at finishing, and then we will pay you accordingly.
Yeah.
You know, so the opportunities are endless. And, you know, the shop's always open for them to come in and spend extra time. No one ever does because, well, I don't know why, but no one ever comes in after work or comes in early to practice welding or anything like that. It's actually 2 guys and 2 girls.
Okay.
It's myself and Shane and Kate and Kelly. Kate has shown strengths in the finishing department with the antiquing, especially like antique brass and stuff like that. She can make antique brass look as natural as can be. You know, sometimes when you apply those acid finishes and stuff, it looks applied. Like she's just got the magic touch. So, you know, you're pretty good at this. Do you want to excel at this?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I kind of like doing that. Well, you're really good at it. You should keep doing it. And so we built her a little, you know, she gets an extra little bit when the projects go through. We started that the beginning of this year. And so far, so we're into it almost 4 months. So far, it's proven itself effective.
Nice.
So the growth is there. It's just so hard. I mean, I say it to myself every day. This is so hard.
Yeah.
Every bit of it is, and everybody will tell you that.
What's your favorite tool?
I have a hard time saying that my favorite tool is not my new brake because I fall asleep reading the phone book thick size manual every night.
What is the tool you could not live without?
It's got to be the water jet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You do anything on that thing.
Do anything. Anything on the water jet. It's a vice in itself, though. Like, I can't live without a water jet anymore. Like, that thing solves so many problems. Like, we get parts, they are the right dimension. That, if I can put any piece of information out to the world for any of the fabricators out there who don't have any sort of flat cutting thing, whether it's a plasma, a water jet, or a laser, that is so valuable. Even if you're not cutting tables with holes in them, even if you just need to make the right size, just to rely on something and be able to pull it off of the machine and know it's a true dimension and truly square, next level fabrication.
Yeah.
Yep.
Making jigs and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
Your jigs are right on point.
Your jigs are right on, and you know, oh, we got a goofy angle. Let me just draw the angle, cut the gusset. It self-fixtures the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. So yeah, I can't live without that machine.
Coming from the plasma table world, I'm jealous. the oversizing of holes and the walk of the kerf if the consumables are not new, and it's it's rough. It's funny because, you know, when you get something like that, you're like, I'm gonna light the world on fire with this thing. This is all I'm ever gonna need. And then you get it, and you're like, you know, for a while, it's like, this is amazing. This is the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah. How did I ever live without a plasma table? And then, you know, you start upping your game a little bit, and you're like, man, so how big do I have to oversize the hole for that to fit? How worn are these consumables? Because I really want a tight fit on these holes. Yeah. Then you're like, man, laser sounds really nice.
Yeah. I mean, well, you start to learn your machine, and and then there's always that leap that you take. So, but yeah, you always end up working within your bag of tricks. I mean, I worked for the last 10 years and produced a lot of high-end sheet metal work without a good press brake. So I got by. You know, you saw the rinky-dink plasma table that I had, and that thing was like, you know, as rinky-dink as it gets. And yeah, I set the world on fire with it. No water table sparks shooting out the bottom. And I was like, this is awesome.
I don't have to drill holes anymore.
I know. How about it? But you need to be able to do, so like that's the magic of it. And if someone's like starting out and they're like, oh, like, you know, I have a welder and a chop saw, and they're like, I want to buy a vertical bandsaw. So if I have to cut a curved panel, I can. Just save the money and buy a $5,000 plasma table so you can cut your curve. You can cut your large holes. Those types of things. Being able to cut a precise curve. Priceless. Templates.
Yeah.
Like, you need that. You really, really do. You can't measure certain radiuses. Sure. But you can cut them. Yeah. You know, even if your curve's 30 thousandths off, like, big deal. You know that's still your radius, your quarter circles or whatever. Sure. What's your favorite tool?
I think anything Milwaukee M18 battery powered.
Oh man, you and Shane. You and Shane, dude.
No. I should say, so I've been phasing out some of my older 5 amp hour batteries for 12 amp hour. Oh my goodness. It is night and day. Run chainsaws, blowers on them, vacuums,
that's awesome.
Just grinding forever with them. Yeah. I would say because I don't go out into the shop all the time anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's becoming less and less. But I would say our new fab table, the 4x20 fab table, is like, just go out there now and there's things out there. I'm like, why don't you have clamps on these? Why don't you have stops? I would totally have clamps all over this thing, holding it down. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. So I think that's probably my favorite tool is our fab table. I think anything battery powered for Milwaukee, man, there's just so many other little things. Like, those on-off magnets that you can do. They only hold like 100 pounds, 150 pounds. Those come in so handy for road work when you're trying to like hold up kick plates for stairs and it's you and you have to hold it from the backside and weld it from the front or vice versa. Like, you can't put your hand all the way around it. Just get a magnet, put it on there and hold it up, you know? The crane, the spider crane. I forgot about the spider crane.
Dude, that thing is sick.
I should back this up a little bit. Spider crane's going to be top 3. We don't use it as much as I thought we would because we have the crane on the truck now. But when you need the spider crane, you need a spider crane.
That's so
it is such a badass little tool. I freaking love that thing.
That is.
We put a new motor in it. We put good, like, brand new batteries in it, and it's like made a world of difference. Yeah. Uh-huh. It's awesome. I love the thing.
That's so cool.
That's proud. So all right. So I take it back. I'd say the Jake table and the spider crane are my 2 favorite tools, closely followed by Milwaukee battery powered stuff.
That's killer.
So, how about your favorite hand tools?
Let's do medium-sized tool.
All right.
My favorite tool is my hanging welder. I hung a Miller, what is it, a 215? It's a Multimatic Miller 215. Yeah. I hung it from a little boom, and we have a wonderful 12-foot by 4.5-foot fab table with T-slots in it, 7-inch thick cast, flat, awesome table, and I made a boom so that welder will walk around above you like a puppy dog, and you just hold the thing, you just weld, and there are no cords on the floor, there's nothing, and the table's always grounded, and that is the welder, and it is at the table, and it's never left. I bought it new. I took the welder, and I've never seen anyone do it like this. I took the welder because we make light duty, we make a lot of light duty stuff, so we don't need the 215. I think it's weighted for 3/8. That's MIG welder, which is a wimpy little MIG welder, but it's all we need for the furniture stuff, which is 90% of what we do on that table. I bought it new, and I made the boom for it with the rolling trolley, and I mounted the entire welder up there, as opposed to running the wire feeder. Yeah. So I got all the functions. I just got to stand on my tippy toes. You reach up to it. We have a brand new welder that hangs. It's not brand new. It's 5 years old now. 6 years old, probably. That was one of the greatest things that I did. Yeah. Yeah. We're thinking about that too. We're thinking about, so we switched to pulse MIG for almost everything. And the problem is the machines that we have, they're big and bulky. But you can put a wire feeder and hook it up to a pulse power source. Yeah. And so we've been thinking about that, and also just a small crane for over top of that 4x20 fab table. Yeah. To like, because like you make a 16-foot picket rail,
You need 2 people to flip that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's make it 1.
Cranes are amazing. I got the best deal on a little crane. It's just a 1-ton. It's a little 1-ton jib crane. Like a week after we brought the water jet into the building, a crane popped up, brand new, with the hoist and everything. $1,000.
Nice.
1-ton. Well, I'm like, I gotta go get this thing now. And I didn't realize how sweet of a deal it was till I got it in the truck, and I'm like, dude, this thing is brand new. It's never picked anything. Best thing I ever did. We just store the sheets right there vertical. Pick them up, put them on there, done. I would still be there with my forklift right now trying to shove a plate on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, lifesavers are the cranes.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah. So tell me about Stout Boonies.
Stout Boonies.
Yeah, tell me about this.
Metalwork is my job. Motorcycles, I haven't gotten off the motorcycle thing since we've been kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Took a little hiatus from the chopping and the building, but I still build and chop and am enthusiastic about motorcycles. Going around to these events, enjoying it, and you get together with these guys that are racing these mini bikes. Antique mini bikes. Some guys are taking it more serious than others. They're putting bigger wheels on them, faster motors, bar banging a little bit. And it's more of like you go to a Harley Davidson type of show or rally, if you will, and kind of a beer drinking thing. Guys are getting together racing these mini bikes. And so that guy's got a modified frame on him. That dude's got motocross style foot pegs. This dude's got a 12-inch rear wheel. What's going on? All right, so these guys are putting some work in. I should build one, And I'm like, this guy chopped his frame in there and stretched it. I'm like, I'll just make a frame from scratch. So then I got into it. Like, I drew it out on paper. My buddy Jason helped me. And Jason is he's awesome with motorcycle. He's a motorcycle brainiac. I mean, he's ridden every type of motorcycle. He's worked on every type of motorcycle. He's rode them across the country. Also, he is like my motorcycle encyclopedia. Races them, rides them, plays them, whatever. Jason, let's design and build a mini bike. We'll make 2 of them. We'll make like one for me, one for you. I got the fab shop.
Mm-hmm.
If we could draw it, I could build it. So we sketch it out on paper, and like I get further and further into the R&D of this thing, and I'm like, okay, I can make. And at the time, I don't want to say like I was at a turning point in life or whatever, but like I was kind of getting like, work was getting a little boring. I was getting a little shot out with certain things. COVID happened. Like, relationships were changing. I had a new girlfriend who was coming to these motorcycle events with me. We were fucking on top of the world. I'm like, so I was searching for something that would make work fun again. You know what I mean? So Work was kind of just doing its thing, and it was getting a little stale. And I'm like, I got to do something here. So I went heavy into R&D on this mini bike. I'm like, well, and I get halfway through making the first one, and I'm like, I can make 1,000 of these. I'm going to set this up that immediately after I build the first one, I am ready to go full steam in production. I have all the tools. I would be cheating myself if I didn't do this. Like, if I just pumped out 2 of these in a weekend, you know what I mean? You could build a mini bike frame in an afternoon with your tube bender and be like, MIG weld it and ride it off. On Monday, you'd be riding your brand new mini bike that you made custom. Good job. Done. All right, now make another one. And then it'd be 3 more days of work. Mm-hmm. And make another one, it'd be 3 more. I'm like, I want to be able to make this in 4 hours. So that's what I did. I set up to manufacture the Stout Boonie, which is a lot of people call it custom. A lot of people call it a one-off. It's not a one-off. It's a production mini bike that we manufacture at our shop. So designed and built the frame from scratch. The first one, we pretty much nailed it on the first frame. That sounds ridiculous to be like, we nailed it on the first try. But dude, when we rode that thing, I'm like, that handles exactly the way I wanted it to. The vision for the Stout Boonie was a mini bike that an adult can get on and ride aggressively. Mm-hmm. So your feet are in the right position, your handlebars, your knees aren't in your chin. It has 12-inch wheels. It has real brakes. It has real hydraulic disc brakes. It has a torque converter for the drives. They're fast. We get a big motor right off the shelf from Harbor Freight with the 2-year warranty. They work. I wanted to create a mini bike that works, which is something I don't think the world has ever seen. A real performance mini bike that works. The chain doesn't fly off that much. No, just kidding. No, like the chain doesn't fly off and the brakes always work, because everybody's got a mini bike where the chain's off and the brakes don't work. So So we made the first one. We loved it. Made a couple tweaks. We made that very first frame out of 040 wall, 7/8 diameter 040 tube. I made the number one was made out of that. I did that for a couple reasons. For one, because it was cheap and it bent easier, and it would show me where the frame was weak. Okay. So I made that frame out of the 040 thickness and went out and pounded the shit out of it and figured out where the weak spot was. Added another brace. We added a diagonal brace, which literally racks the whole frame together and makes it look cooler. I'm like, well, there it is. That's pretty much where it failed. So we added a brace there, and now the production bikes are 122. So it's a revised, it's more robust, and it's the thicker tube. So that's how we kind of R&D'd it. But the 040 held up like you wouldn't believe.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you know how strong it gets when you make something right. But yeah, the 040 held up really well. But it tweaked like right underneath the motor. So we added a brace from right behind the motor back to the seat post. And now the frame creates two triangles, which is, as we know, works. Designed and built that. Unveiled them at, took them to Sturgis. I got in touch with some people that were, through going to these events, I got to know some of the players in the, people who put on the rallies and who organize the events, and they've become friends of ours. And they're like, dude, we want to make that the official mini bike of our event. And I'm like, yeah, sign us up. So like I kind of kept it a secret until then, and then manufactured 16 of the mini bikes and unveiled them at Sturgis. At the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, just started rolling them out, and we were all mobbing on these things. That's awesome. Put 16 of them in a closed trailer. Yeah. And we blasted out to Sturgis and started unloading them and firing them up, and just chaos. Absolute chaos. So now everybody's, running around on a Stout boonie. It's been really, really cool. I struggle like you wouldn't believe to find the time to build them. We're always sold out. People that want a mini bike, they see what our mini bike is and they want to buy it.
That's it.
So and then
it's like the golden standard in like adult mini bikes now,
if you will. Yeah. So the culture has turned into like, there's now a mini bike culture. And this was growing, so I saw this little thing starting to grow, and this is awesome. I need to get in on this, and not in on it as a business thing. I wanted in on the thrill. That's why I do this. I mean, when you look up the cost of our mini bikes, we charge $2,000 for a mini bike, and you look at that and you're like, how the fuck do you make that for $2,000? I don't do it for money. I know there's a world where that recipe can work, but I'm not going to risk it all to try and find that world. If that world finds me while I'm enjoying manufacturing these mini bikes, I'm in here to have a good time and not lose any money on these mini bikes. Yeah, and that's what I do, because as you know, what it costs to have a fabrication shop with real equipment and real employees. You can't just produce things for nothing. There's a world where it can work, Yeah. But I'm not going to risk it all trying to get there. You know, I'm really, really happy. I have an amazing life. I have a great job. If the mini bike thing takes off, and I mean, honestly, if an investor rolled along and was like, "Hey, we can do this," I would sit down and talk with them. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it would have to be. It would just have to be the right thing.
Well, that's it for episode number 4 with Matt from Stout Custom. If you want to follow along with what he's doing, you can check him out on Instagram Also check us out. Follow everything that's going on with us and the Fabricator Olympics. And stay tuned next week for episode number 5, the 5th and final episode with Matt from Stout Customs. Until then, get out there, get it done, and get it invoiced.